Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to show you exactly how to trim your perennial grasses. Yes, we are just on the cusp of spring exploding here in North Carolina. Now I know technically spring is weeks away, but my garden is telling me some other things and it is beginning to wake up, and this is the perfect time to go ahead and prune your perennial grasses. So I'm going to show you the two easiest ways that I know how to trim these perennial grasses. And then we're gonna go on a little bit of a garden tour here at the privacy berm. I'm gonna show you how spring is just kind of, I don't even say she's knocking, she is like beating on the door here in North Carolina. And it is so fun to see things start to wake up. Primarily, this video is on how to prune perennial grasses, so I am not going to delay. I'm going to get straight to the point because I know some of you are here just to learn how to prune your grasses, and then we will have fun looking at the garden. I have to give you a context though of where we are and what we're going to prune. In this privacy berm, I have Niagara Falls, and you will see these tall brown columns throughout the berm. Those are all the same plant. This is Niagara Falls from Proven Winners. This is a great perennial grass with a bluish green foliage, and you can see from its habit that it is very, very upright, correct? Then I have three grasses, shall we say. This is Platinum Beauty, and this is from Southern Living. A very different habit on it, but you can see that it is brown as well. Platinum Beauty, depending on where you are, if you're further south, yours may still be nice and say greenish because maybe you didn't get damage from the cold. These got damage from the cold, so we're going to prune these back as well. What I'm going to do is get all of my supplies, get the camera set up, and we're going to do the Niagara Falls, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to prune your perennial grasses and why you need to do it. All right, my friends, so I have got two of the Niagara Falls right beside of me. I'm going to show you two different methods of doing it. You can choose whichever one works for you, right? The reason that we are going to prune our perennial grasses is because our weather is beginning to turn. We're beginning to get warmer. Your perennial grasses, all of that growth comes from brand new growth. This that you see that is brown is not going to turn green. So what we want to do is remove all of last year's foliage so that this year's foliage can come up from the crown of the plant and be big and beautiful and lush green and not be mixed in with any of this brown foliage. Of course, it is a windy day, so this could be lots of fun. I could have little grass stems going everywhere. Optimally, you want to remove old foliage before new foliage begins to emerge because you don't want to cut your fresh new green growth because it'll leave a brown tip. However, we've all been there, done that. So if you find that you've got some green coming in, go ahead and cut back the brown. You'll be all right. Now, the easiest way to do this is to get some string or a bungee cord. I could not find a bungee cord, so I'm just using some twine. This is like a braided twine. Y'all, it does not matter. It could be a big giant shoelace, a ribbon. It does not matter because this is just going to be your placeholder. So my ladies, you're going to understand this. You are going to take your bungee cord, your twine, your ribbon, whatever it is. You're going to kind of hug the plant, and you're going to come in here and you're going to tie it up like a ponytail. So I wanted to see how long it is before I cut my twine. So we're going to go ahead and give myself plenty of room here, and I'm going to cut it. Just put a new blade on my cutter so it cut it nice and easy. Okay, so we're taking it up, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this grass and we are going to give it a flat top haircut. We're going to take all the foliage off. So the trick that I learned years ago is to take your string, your whatever, and you're gonna tie it up, because it makes it so much easier to clean up, okay? So I have I have tied it up as if it were a big giant ponytail. You're probably gonna want to wear gloves, because sometimes, depending on the grass, the foliage can be a little sharp and it could cut you. So the first way that we're gonna do it is we're going to take our hand pruners. Now, you could use scissors if you needed to, but you're gonna take some sort of cutting utensil. I'm using my Felco's #2, and we're gonna come in and we're cutting. We're just going to cut all of the brown foliage, and we're probably cutting it, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches from the ground. Now, ta-da, look, I have one big giant mass clump of the grass. So all I'm gonna do is take it, throw it in the back of Johnny, or if you have a pop-up tub, you can throw it in the tub. You're gonna take your twine and you're gonna save it for the next one, and then we're gonna do the next one, and it's gonna be even faster and easier than this. Now, before we move on to the grass behind me, you know me, we're gonna come in here and just clean this up. So the idea is that you're just cleaning the grass up, any kind of little extra, and some of it will just kind of blow off. But as you can see, we literally just gave it a haircut. I can see that some of my stems are green, meaning that they're alive and happy, but there are no new grass shoots coming up. So this is perfect timing on this. All right, now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn to the next one, and we're still going to use our same method of taking our twine, and we're going to tie it up. And it is helpful if you could have somebody else with you, because it's kind of like when you're wrapping Christmas presents and you need somebody to tie, like to put their finger in when you tie the bow. It's kind of that same method here. If you can find a bungee cord, it certainly does make it a little bit easier. My string here is a little slippery, but we're just tying it up. The tighter you can get it, the easier it will be that the grass doesn't come out, okay? So, tied it up. Now, what we're gonna do is, I have my handy dandy hedge trimmers, right? So, Jerry this is the steel several years ago, so that I'm sure they've probably updated the serial numbers or the brand numbers. This is the HSA 66, but I love it because it's electric. Pop the battery in, and then I don't have to worry about cranking it and all the stuff. It just makes it so super easy. So what we're gonna do is take this, and then we're just gonna cut it again like a flat top, and it goes even so much faster than using pruners or scissors. And there you go. It is as simple as that, y'all. So pruning your nice tall perennial grasses does not have to be intimidating, and even on a windy day you can go ahead and prune them, and you're not going to have a gazillion little, you know, pieces of grass going out throughout your yard. Because before I learned the trick about tying them up, you would sit here and cut and they would blow in the wind. And oh my goodness, it made an absolute mess. All right, now we're gonna do a little bit different with the Platinum Beauty. So let's move up there and give them a haircut as well. As I said earlier, this is Platinum Beauty Lamandre from our friends at Southern Living Plant Collection. They sent me these 3 stunning ones. Gosh, been like early last winter, almost about this time last year. Put them in here in the berm, and they are beautiful. Now, When they sent them to me, it was a bit of a test because these are going to be hardy in zones 8A to 10B, and I am a new 8A. When we get cold weather and wind, north is directly in front of me, so these would take the brunt of it. In your warmer zones, these are going to be evergreen. However, these are not evergreen. Like right now, they're not. So I need to remove this foliage so that the new growth can emerge. It even says that, you know, you can do this on the Southern Living Plant website, and so that's not a problem. We're going to go to about 6 to 8 inches. I'm not going to be as severe as I was with the panicums, but basically you still could probably come in here with the hedge trimmers and just clean it up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit harder to do the whole ponytail method with this because they are so I don't say weepy, but like, you know, bending over some. So what I'm going to do is just literally just come in here with my pruners, and that's why it's so important to have nice sharp pruners. And we're just going to go around and we're cleaning up all of this foliage, and we're just going to go around and give it a bit of a trim. So if you are concerned and you're not sure whether or not that you should prune your perennial grass, if you have a Carex, like I have the Feather Falls and the Everillo grasses, then those are ones that I do not prune because they are still nice and beautiful and have that kind of that evergreen foliage on them. So I do not prune them at all. When in doubt, if you are not sure whether you should prune anything really at all, go to what I call Professor Google. You know what the plant name is, or if you know what the type of plant is, then you just ask Professor Google. When do I prune fill in the blank? When do I prune Lamandre? When do I prune panicum grasses? When do I prune Shasta daisies, right? When do I prune camellias? And you're going to find some great information. So you can see here that this Platinum Beauty has a tighter habit on it as far as it's more a mound. It's also an older plant. When our friends at Southern Living sent these to me, they were, I want to say, already 3 gallons. So they were big, beautiful plants. I mean, just stunning. From cutting on them, it seems that they are still alive, which is good. Like I said, it was going to be a test because I was going to be on the border of being a little too cold, and I can't get my clippers in here. Here we go. So it seems that they are still alive, which is very, very good news. So what I'm going to do is just come in here and just continue all the way around, clean it up, and then I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second. Okay, my friends, so easy as that, right? You're just coming in here and you're just cutting it nice and tight. Don't overthink like how much to cut it back. As long as it's nice and tight, then you're fine. You're going to cut it enough because this Platinum Beauty, I mean, it was huge. Like, it took up a ton of room. So yes, you're still going to have some of that old foliage in there, but your new growth is going to come out and give you a beautiful, beautiful show. So the idea is, of course, those perennial grasses, get them cut back before they send out a ton of new growth. Now, again, we have all been there, that life happens, it gets away from you. All of a sudden you realize that your grasses are sending up new growth and you haven't cut back last year's growth. Just get in there and do the best you can. Don't worry about it, right? There is grace in gardening, and don't fear on that. But go ahead and get those perennial grasses cut back. If you are currently covered in snow and you're like, Jenny, I can't cut mine back, it's okay, right? You're gonna do the exact same method, just at a different time on the calendar. We are going into spring weather. I have got my daffodils right here that are coming up. I got tulips behind me. You will know when your garden is starting to wake up from winter and going into spring. Now, are we still gonna get crazy cold weather and some hard freezes? Absolutely. It looks like this weekend we're gonna be like in the upper 20s. These grasses will be perfectly fine. You're not going to hurt the grass by cutting it early. It's okay. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get all my other grasses, get them all cut back, and then we're going to take a little garden tour here of the berm, because I can't wait to show you I actually have flowers blooming in this space. Okay, my friends, so I got all of the grasses have been pruned and cut back, and ta-da! We're done. Johnny is full of the debris. So what I will do is take it to our area where we just let all of our green debris kind of decompose and return to compost. I will say, if you are a person who enjoys a good like outdoor campfire, your old growth makes a great fire starter. So if you need a free fire starter, then a little bit of that will go a long way. I'm gonna take you through a quick little garden tour here at the berm. And I think we're gonna hit the woodland garden too. I just wanna show you kind of what's blooming and thriving and looking beautiful right now. And then I have an area of, some plants didn't make it, they're dead. So there you go, I'm trying to make everybody, people get so worried and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill a plant. I'm like, yeah, you are, and it's okay. I don't care how long you've gardened. You could have gardened for, 70 years, and guess what? You're still probably going to kill a plant. If you're not killing a plant, then you're not testing your limits and testing out new plants and testing your garden. So there you go. Now let's see exactly what is beautiful and thriving right here. Brenna, here's your entertainment for the day. She found a rock, and so she is back there playing with that. It is hellebore season, my gosh, y'all. These are, of course, hellebores, Linton Roses. They're called Linton Roses because they typically will start blooming around the season of Lent. I just put these in last year, so they are still on the smaller side. I do not see where my tags are that tell me what they are, so you're just gonna have to forgive me. I have a feeling that this first one is the Ice and Roses red, but I could be wrong. Just go to your local garden center, y'all. This is the time of year where you're going to find beautiful hellebores that are blooming or budding. Obviously red, and then you've got back there at the back more of a solid white, and then right here we have just a really sweet kind of that creamy white, almost a little bit of a yellowish, and then a pink on it. So lots of fun colors for sure on your hellebores. Now let's talk about, we had a success, now let's talk about a mess. My rhododendrons. I planted 3 rhododendrons in this woodland garden. 2 of them massively struggled in the heat of the summer. Had water on them. This has irrigation. You can see those brown lines. That's the irrigation lines it's showing. I could not keep enough water on them, and they just looked bad. And you can clearly see that, like on this one, I have 1 green sprig. The rest is just toast. And I went in there and looked at it and snapped, and of course those stems did snap. So now I'm left with the dilemma of, do I just go ahead and pull them out? If I try to just cut out the dead foliage, leave the new foliage, it's gonna take forever for those to come back. So I'm thinking that these 2 will just come out, and maybe I will try some other plant. Maybe not a rhododendron, we'll do something else. Now, just to show how weird gardens can be, those 2 did not make it. And then here you have the exact same variety, just, I don't know, 12 feet down, and she's doing great. She has 1 little stem on her that looked like it may have perished, but otherwise, she's doing great. So sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, and it's just about, you have to try it and the placement. That's why gardening is just one big, massive experiment, and we're just all along for the ride. And you do what you can, and you do your best, and some plants are gonna die, and that's okay. Now, if I wanted to try rhododendrons again there, absolutely could. My personal kind of general rule of thumb is, I have to kill a plant 3 times in a spot before I'm like, yeah, that's just, it's not gonna work there. And then I give up and I move on. So that's just a little side note. Now, what else is blooming is the, I have snowdrops. So this one has started to bloom. I love snowdrops. Galanthus, that's what they are. And they are just the sweetest little guys. They are a bulb, and you can get them from just about any kind of bulb company. You plant them in the fall. They are perennials. These have been here for a couple of years, and this is the first one that is blooming, but just so stinking sweet. I love it. And then behind is my Edgeworthia. Edgeworthia is just a classic, beautiful shrub that is more in the shade area. So it's like a part sun kind of shade plant. But what's so fun is this time of year, these are your buds, and they have a delicious fragrance to them. The flowers are just starting to open up. I don't know if they have a fragrance. Oh, they do. So you get a little bit of a fragrance already on them. And then throughout the growing season, they put on nice kind of elongated leaves on them. So this little guy is doing great and doing wonderful. So that's kind of an update here. I do have camellias back here. These are all japonicas. They are beautiful, nice and healthy. I believe that one, yeah, that one's lemon blush, and I have a couple of buds, but no flowers yet on that. All right, now let's move on over to the berm. And let me just give you an overview of how everything is doing. I have sedums here on the corner, perennial sedums, and it is about time for me to come in here and cut back the old foliage. Now you'll notice that there are quite a bit of leaves in here. I've gotten rid of some, but we do have some oak trees that hold on to the leaves a long time, and they just blow in here and they get caught up. So we need to get these out. But the reason I say, one, we need to get these out is because you can see they're crowding up around my sedums here, but you can see all of this beautiful new growth right there. So what you can do really is just come in here and snip off, just break back the foliage. Now if you wanted to bring your Felcos in here, you could, but this is a great sign that they're starting to come back. Get these little babies cleaned up here. You'll have all of that beautiful green foliage. The old foliage really does just kind of like snap and just come right off. And then you'll have these sweet little mounds of green. It is a fantastic. So there you go. Now that I've started, I can't stop. There we go. Okay, get all the little leaves out, and now this little guy can breathe and be quite happy. So that's what all those clumps around here are, the sedums. The denim and lace, the Russian sage, we're gonna let it sit just for a little bit longer till we get some more consistently warm temperatures. Y'all, weeds, winter weeds are coming back with a vengeance. I have got plenty of onions in here. We could start Creekside Onion Farm as far as I'm concerned. So get in there, get those weeds while they are small. Look at the Artemisia. This is the silver lining. Look at all that new growth coming up. Isn't that great? So we know that this is a very happy plant. It survived the winter quite well. Once we get some more consistent warm temperatures, this is going to absolutely explode. Be so fun. All right, let's come down here. I told you that I had flowers, and I do. So we have two of the Sweet Talker viburnums. We have one here, and then we have one down there on the other side of the plum. Sweet Talker gets its name because of these sweet pink flowers that it puts on in late winter. I don't know if you would consider this early spring, but late winter. Now, Sweet Talker will get to be a big size. You can tell from its habit probably that it's going to be more upright than it is wide, but it has those sweet pink flowers, very kind of trumpet-like on them, and has a very nice, delicious, sweet fragrance. This poor thing, because it is on the north side, facing side of the berm, when we have those cold temperatures, it almost defoliates. So while it's not in all of its glory, because it is not nice and full, I'm not worried, because I don't know if you can see here, we have got new little leaf buds forming. Last year when we had, well, in 2022, December of 2022, when we had that Arctic blast, it really took all of this back. But it's okay, it can handle it. It's supposed to be evergreen, but in these kind of conditions, it'll get whacked. This is all new growth right here. Put on a tremendous amount of growth last year. So that is, I'm very encouraged by that plant. Even if it defoliates, it will still bounce back and be just very happy and fun. Butterfly bushes, just kind of leave those until you see new growth popping out on them, and then we'll prune those back. Now, what I want to do is hop on to the other side of the berm, because if you remember all of those hundreds of tulips that we planted back in the fall, they have all popped up, and man, it is going to be beautiful in a couple of weeks. Let me show you. Can you see all of those little green faces poking up out of the soil? Oh my goodness, we have got so many tulips, y'all, and it is just all over this side of the berm. And I'm telling you, it's like they just kind of pop up overnight. We can see it so clearly from the house. We were looking out the window this morning, the sun was shining, and man, they just were just so sweet out there, just so nice and green and happy. But these are just going to be absolutely gorgeous. But I wanted to give you kind of an update on how they are doing. If your tulips come up early, which some of mine came up earlier than these, my jonquils back there in the back, the daffodils, they came up super early. They're fine, y'all. They're just gonna hang out. They know when is the appropriate time to bloom, and they'll be okay, I promise. It looks like maybe we might have one or two that have some little heads on them. Let's see, which we need to get them a little bit taller. If you can see this one, that looks like that one's gonna be a yellow one that has a head. So this is my first time planting the tulips here in this space. So we'll just, again, it's all one big science experiment. You just play around and see what works and what doesn't work. But either way, it's gonna be gorgeous here because there's so many tulips in this space. As always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational. If you get a day like this, blue sky, get outside. I don't care what you do. You don't have to garden. Just go outside, sit, enjoy the weather, soak up some vitamin D, just enjoy it. Spring is coming. It will be here before we know it. Our birds are going crazy. They're eating me out of house and home with the bird feeders, but I absolutely love it. Remember, nursery opens this Saturday, February 17th. We'll have Bolton's food truck. We'll have Food Junkie here with homemade donuts. Cannot wait to see you. For the first couple of weeks, we'll be open on Saturdays only, and then we'll transition to Wednesday through Saturday. Just either go to the website, gardenwithcreekside.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, Creekside Nursery, and all the information will be right there, so you don't have to guess if we're open or we're closed. We will let you know. But we cannot wait to see you. Cannot believe that time has flown by so much. People are like, man, that was short. Yeah, tell me about it. Those 2 months flew by so fast. But we're ready to see you and hug your neck and just welcome you back to Creekside. As always, we appreciate you. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.